Everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I'm installing an aftermarket Android unit in my car. Now there are already a ton of videos out there on this, but none of them really explain how to retain the OEM reverse camera, and that's exactly what I will be covering here. I have included links for all the parts and tools I'm using in the description. Let's start with the unboxing. Inside the package, you get the wiring harnesses, adapters, a GPS antenna, an external microphone, USB outlets, a reverse camera input cable, a set of basic tools, and the main Android unit plus the matching faceplate. One useful feature of these units is that they often include a faceplate designed specifically for your car, so once installed, the system looks close to factory. Since my Sonata already had a factory reverse camera, I did not use the aftermarket camera included in the box. Instead, I purchased an adapter from Amazon that allows the OEM camera to stay connected. I will show you how to wire it in. Let's start by removing the two trim panels on each side of the center console. These can be pulled off by hand. Behind them, you will see two Phillips screws. Remove those. Next, use a plastic trim tool to carefully pry off the center faceplate. Take your time here to avoid damaging the clips. Once the faceplate is free, disconnect the connectors for the clock and the passenger airbag indicator. Next come the climate control buttons. And now remove the four screws securing the factory radio. Slide the unit out and disconnect the wiring harnesses, including power, antenna, and XM radio. The old unit is now out and ready to be replaced. At this point, we need to go through the connections first, just for the dry fit to make sure everything works. For the dry fit, we will mainly be using connectors number 1 and number 4 as shown in the diagram. This is the main harness that comes with the Android unit. On your car, you will see two connectors that were originally plugged into the OEM radio. Take those two connectors and plug them into the main harness adapter. Then plug that adapter into slot number 1 on the new unit. There's also a small 4-pin connector on the harness, but for this install it isn't required, so you can just leave it disconnected. Next, let's hook up the OEM reverse camera. For this, you will need the special adapter that converts the OEM camera signal into a format the Android unit can understand. This adapter has 3 connections. Ground wire, it mimics a horseshoe. Attach this to a bare metal screw in the dashboard. I found a suitable screw, loosened it slightly, slid the horseshoe connector under and tightened it back down. The next step would be the video signal. Connect the yellow RCA wire from the OEM adapter to the included reverse camera input cable that then goes into slot number 4 on the Android unit. The last is the reverse trigger wire. Connect the wire labeled reverse on the OEM adapter to the wire labeled reverse on the main harness. For the dry fit, I just twisted these wires together to test, but later I used bullet connectors to make the connections secure, neat, and easy to disconnect if needed in the future. With everything loosely connected, turn on the ignition and put the car in reverse. At this point, you should see the reverse camera feed on the new unit's screen. If the image looks distorted, don't worry. I will show you how to fix that in the settings later in a separate video. I also tested the speakers at this stage to confirm everything was working. Once I confirmed the reverse camera and audio were working correctly, I replaced the temporary twisted wires with bullet connectors. This isn't strictly necessary, but it makes the installation much more professional and allows you to easily disconnect the wires if you ever need to remove the radio. Here's a quick look at how I trimmed on the bullet connectors. If you need a detailed tutorial on using them, there are plenty of videos available on YouTube. Next up, we move the climate controls, vents, and the clock/airbag indicator from the old faceplate to the new one. There are 4 screws holding it in place. Remove them with your Phillips screwdriver. Once those screws are out, use the plastic trim tool to gently unclip the module. There are a few clips. Work slowly so you don't snap anything. And once done, you can set the module aside and keep the screws safe. Then transfer the climate control buttons to the new faceplate. Just move the module to the new faceplate, line up the mounting holes, reinstall the same 4 screws to secure the climate module onto the new faceplate. Don't over torque them, just snug is enough. And then clip it in so it sits flush. The next step would be to remove and then transfer the air vents. Each vent uses 4 screws, plus a couple of side clips. Unscrew, unclip, and carefully lift them free. Bolt the vents back into the matching holes on the new faceplate using the same screws, and then snap the clips back in. And then lastly, we'll also need to remove the clock and passenger airbag indicator. Remove the screws holding the clock assembly and unclip it. Now this step is necessary because if the clock and this airbag indicator is not connected, the dash will throw an airbag fault light and you will be living with a permanent existential dashboard warning. So reconnect the harness and tuck the whole assembly behind the center console. There's enough room to hide it out of sight. Here is the diagram for the final installation. It shows the locations for each of the connectors and how they are routed. We'll start by plugging the connectors into the Android radio. First goes the reverse camera connector. Next, connect the 2 USB outlets that we routed into the glove box. After that, move on to the main harness. Connect it to the factory connectors in the car. Then hook up the reverse camera wire along with the reverse trigger wire. As mentioned earlier, I used bullet connectors for the trigger wire, so now we'll just snap those together. Don't forget to connect the radio antenna as shown in the diagram. Carefully align the new faceplate with the dash vents and clips. Gently push until you hear the clips snap home. Reinstall the 2 faceplate screws you removed earlier. Snug tighten them with the screwdriver or 8mm socket. Reinstall the 2 trim panels on either side and they just clip back in. Give the dash a little pat like a satisfied parent. And there you have it. A new Android brain for the old Sonata with the OEM camera still working and the dash looking far more up to date. In terms of usability, there's little to complain about. CarPlay runs smoothly, the screen is bright and easy to use, and the audio quality is perfectly respectable. My only minor gripe with this particular unit is that it does not keep the clock updated. Since I use it mainly as a CarPlay display, it's not really an issue for me, but it could be inconvenient for others. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, please give it a like. And if you got any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer and share possible solutions. Thank you.